Welcome everybody to the show. I've got here Matthew Warzel. He has been a career coach and resume writer for the past over 20 years or so.
About 15 years, yeah, mixed in with some recruiting.
Yeah, I was never good at counting. As they say, after my hands, anything's up for grabs at that point. So we've got over 750 LinkedIn reviews or whatever, which is unbelievable. So Matt, I wanted to welcome you to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Hope I can enlighten some audience members here.
Why don't you tell us about what's going on right now? It's very obviously unemployment has been at an all-time high probably since the Great Depression. How do people get a job today?
You know, first and foremost, it's strategy. You can't just, apply to jobs. We call it kind of a spray and pray, where you're just putting things out there at every application you can and hoping somebody will come knocking on your door. You want to have a strategy. And to get a strategy, one of the big proponents is to figure out who you are, what you want to do, and where you want to go, and how you're going to get there. And it takes a little bit of practice, right? So first, figure out a few of your value offerings to an employer. What are some insights that you can provide? What are some proficiencies you can bring to the table that will make you a viable candidate and solve their pain points? They got issues for having these openings. I mean, people are still hiring. You just got to find them. But no matter where the lull, somebody's hiring no matter what. So work on finding you first, figure out what you can do and what you want to do, because you can't have people guiding you. The hiring managers and recruiters aren't going to guide you. That's what us career consultants are for, and coaches. So go in there knowing what the heck you have a purpose for. And then once you figure out some of these value offerings in terms of maybe you're good at project management, or maybe you're good at, being able to build an event, or maybe you're good at writing up strategy plans or whatever. What do you like to do? And there's no perfect career. Obviously if I could be a PGA golfer, hey man, or a drummer in a band, but we're not, this is reality, right? So you don't have to be so profound in your thinking of this is it. I'm in a transition. What am I going to do? It's daunting. This has to be the life. No, just roll with it. Maybe the next thing you do is something that'll inspire you to go to the next step. So figure out the strategy. And then once you do, there's tons of things you can do outside of just applying online, which I still am a big proponent of, because applicant tracking systems are through the career portals, right? Recruiters still receive inbound applications through the portal every night, and they're going to look at them if it's not overwhelming, or at least a handful of them, and try to match you up with one of their openings. So outside of that fundamental, there's some backdoor job hunting techniques you should be practicing as well, and maybe we'll get into those here in a little bit. But strategy is number one.
You prefer, essentially, just to clarify, is obviously someone has to understand what he brings to the table, as opposed to just sending out a bunch of essentially resumes, to understand what are you most good at. And then is there a strategy on LinkedIn where you can actually, once you've found out, okay, I'm fantastic at sales, therefore I'm going to look for all the sales jobs, I'm going to contact specifically these companies because I've looked into them, I know I can sell their product, and reach out to them that way? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, that's just one of the ways. I mean, I love being able I love seeing the positive effects of networking on LinkedIn and networking with decision makers. People don't realize that, the hiring manager might be on your radar and you don't even realize it. So if you do your due diligence, figure out a list of some companies you really like, take that list and start honing into where you want to fit into that company, and then get on LinkedIn, do some research, and find out, like you said, sales. There's got to be a sales manager at that company, at the location you want to work at, that's on LinkedIn. Maybe if they're not, obviously you can get creative and use some other websites that might have some contact information out there, but more or less, a lot of people are on LinkedIn. So you should be able to find at least someone there, or even someone who's in that department that you can tap and ask them. Don't say, hey, here's a resume, I'm awesome, you're going to want to interview me. People don't know you unless you know someone personally. That it's probably going to be a big turnoff. They're busy and they don't have time to give favors to their friends half the time, let alone a stranger. So be mindful, offer some value. Maybe that sales opening is there because they just had a new client signed that's worth $1 billion and they need, managing of the account or whatever. there's got to be a reason there's an opening. If you could figure that out, now when you approach these people, you can say something like, hey, I saw you have an opening because of this wonderful deal you just struck. You are in such a great company. Can I maybe bend your ear for 5 minutes and figure out how I could be a viable candidate in the process, or how you got a job at that company? Ask them to talk about themselves or their company. People love doing that, and it will have an effect after you build that relationship with genuineness and being honest with them and being sincere. Then maybe they'll be willing to help you with the actual job stuff. But it's all about building relationships and building them in a genuine way.
Right, because I feel like if you do that, it's not necessarily he's helping you out. It's not coming from a point standpoint. You're helping him out, right? Like he has a need. Right, exactly. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, you're giving them some insights, or maybe something with a competitor, to some news that they didn't know about, or anything, like just something that you bring to the table that can be of value. And even if they already knew about it, at least you're showing them that you're doing your due diligence.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, everybody has a need. The biggest problem is that people reach out about stuff that simply they don't need. They just reach out and hope that they respond. If you know exactly what he needs, and you can be even more specific, by the way, here's how I can help you. You think he has 5 minutes for you? He's got an hour and a half for you. I think that's 100% a great idea.
Thank you. Yeah. And moreover, another one I got is the social media aspect. I've been preaching this lately is, be an advocate, share some things, join in on conversations on their social sites, the company's sites. Somebody's on the other end that's posting these things, or at least handling the automation for posting these things and drumming up the content. They're going to see who's interacting. If they keep seeing your name and someone who's out there for them, as almost, as someone who's leading the charge and constantly engaging and getting other people engaged on posts, you never know where that rapport can go. Maybe then at one point you can message somebody on the other end and say, man, I'm loving what you guys are doing. And, I've been following you for a couple months now and trying to engage, and, just didn't know if somebody's on the other end over there that maybe I can, ask a few questions about how I could be a viable candidate in the process and for a job at that company. Again, it's asking help, it's asking insights, asking how they get there. It's asking about them. Ask, not gimme.
The topic for all those people, there are a lot of people who go out and say, I don't need a career coach. My resume is just quite fine. How do you respond to that?
I mean, I'll say when I get a resume, I'll probably get one out of every 20, 25 that look like, hey, I'm not going to need to help you. Honestly, a few tweaks here and there and you're good. I have seen those resumes. I will not take on a client if I think all I'm going to do for $300 is shift a few things around and then go here. I just don't believe in that faith or that way of approaching it. I want them to have faith in me as a business person and owner that can be a resource and an honest guide. Some people might chop it up and just redo it just for the sake of getting a sale. But again, that's what is 1 out of 25. I mean, whatever, you're not good at math. I'm not. But that's very small. So majority of the time, your resume is not doing you justice. Now, again, a lot of people might say, I don't need a resume because I'm in an industry where it's all referral based, or, there's a lot of different variables, and that's fine. But if you're on the bench for 6 months and you're going, I don't need a resume, but I can't find a job either, maybe revisit it. A $300 investment and someone who's going to be a solutions coach almost essentially. What's $300 if you can get $5,000 extra in your next job, or streamline your job hunting so you're not missing out on X amount of months of income? So there's a lot of different ways to think of it. But again, if you're going to go out and spend $300 on a meal with a bottle of wine and a movie, pre-COVID days, that whole going out thing, or going to a Browns game cost me $400. It's like you're going to the casino or something. I mean, it's insane how expensive things are nowadays. You're telling me you can't fork that over for something that's a part of your livelihood that's going to dictate the rest of your life? Hey, good luck. Because I honestly, there's plenty of people out there that need help. I'm not one for selling someone that doesn't realize they need help.
Do you ever come across people that they signed on with you, but you give them recommendations such as find yourself first, find exactly what you're good at, as we've mentioned before, and they simply just don't want to do the work?
I have had that. Now there's two pronged to this. And I should almost revert like what I just said, but as far as I don't want to help these people that don't know what they want to do, but it's like I do, but it's going to cost them some more money. I mean, obviously my time is valued as well, and I offer service. So if you're willing to pay, you know, the $50 for a half hour to jump on a horn and maybe set up a strategy or some sort of plan of attack to figure out where we want to get you inside warm and cozy about what you want to do next, you might have to pay a little bit extra to have someone like myself coach you into figuring that out. And I love doing that. Obviously, it's easier being just a word shop where you're getting someone who knows what they want to do. You fill in the blanks, figure out the value offerings, accomplishments, the keywords, etc. Get a nice format, and they're done. They're on their way to being a data analyst. That's one thing. But if someone comes to me and they say, I don't know, I might want to be a chef, but I also like sales. And I used to teach English. Maybe I'll go back to school. It's like, well, now you're looking at someone who's a Jack and Jill of all trades, and that stuff doesn't float anymore. You need a resume for each type of job. You need a purpose for each type of role you're going after. You can't have someone coming in, unless it's obviously some scenarios like a small business or something, where they might need someone who's a little more well-rounded and can handle different business functions. But most of the time, they want you focused on one thing because that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be either making the money or spending money, essentially wasting the money, and they want you to make the money, right? So you're going to be making the money by doing this one focus and doing it right. So have your message coming into this whole job hunting process about that focus, about that target. So again, get the help if you are considering it, because if you don't know what you want to do, your spouse, your friends, whatever, can only do so much in terms of their opinion. You're going to need some expertise, and that's where we come in. We can help you figure that out, but I'm not going to do it for free either, because it's a lengthy process, and it takes a lot of critical thinking on both ends.
Wait, you don't do anything? You don't do your service for free? I'm shocked.
I know. Well, you should see how many emails I get. Can we just jump on a call? And it's like, I used to do it. I mean, I would be all for just getting pulled in all these directions. The last couple of years, I really stopped doing that because, you realize there's a lot of value on our end, and it should come at a little bit of a cost. It's 15 years in the making to get here.
Sure. And 750 reviews, which I have to ask you about. How did you do it? Like, how does that, I mean, those are more reviews than McDonald's McNuggets commercials. Like, it's really
yeah, I wish I could get some sort of spotlight by LinkedIn for it, even though they're all on that and are impressed too. I get what my calls with LinkedIn, I get that a lot, but essentially I just had a process in place for every time I was done with a client. I had incentives attached to if they left me reviews all over the place. And that was just one of the incentives, was just if you could do a LinkedIn recommendation, it'd be appreciated because, here's some incentives that go with it. So essentially it's just a game of trade you. I'll give you $5 if you leave 5 reviews for me. And most of the time they don't even collect the $5 and they're just happy to do it because I got them a job or got them in a right track or whatever the situation was. But it's 725, almost 750. But again, to get there, it was literally just having communication in place and just having the right communication and people being willing to do it. I should actually have more. I should have more, but people drop off of LinkedIn.
That's why I said 750. Yeah, because what you have, right?
That's right, bud.
I can read you. So let's shift over from you getting people jobs to focusing on how do you find the people for yourself? Or I deal with a lot of career coaches, obviously, and one of the main struggles, even in this market, which technically is huge demand, they have a hard time finding people. How are you finding people? Are people finding you? What's your solution for that?
Yeah, majority of it's word of mouth. Having done this for so many years, a lot of friends of friends. Outside of that, LinkedIn is my number one. I've tried the Thumbtacks and the WeWork. God, I remember some of these Thumbtack-esque type sites. WeWork or we Freelancer.
No. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm talking about those ones. Yeah.
Upwork.
Yeah, Upwork, Fiverr, like all those ones. It's just a little bit more tricky. So I kind of got off of those, and I usually it's mainly LinkedIn, networking, using the Pro Finder, and then doing some kind of daily searches that I have search strings set up that kind of allow me to sift through stuff on LinkedIn, and it helps find some leads. And then, essentially word of mouth. But I will say this to all the resume writers, career coaches out there, it's not gangbusters yet. People have not, I've been talking to my colleagues all of COVID, and we're all in the same boat where there's definitely some same traction as it would be any year. I'm meeting my same kind of numbers as I did last year, but it's not what everyone thinks. I get that a lot with people. They're like, "Oh, you're a resume writer? You must be it must be popping off right now." And I'm like, it's not, because no one's opening their purse. Everyone's tightening their purse strings. No one's opening their wallet yet. So I think in maybe a couple years, it'll be a little bit more influx, but also more competition, because during every lull, all the recruiters become resume writers. And then after the lull, all of them go back to recruiting. So right now we just have everyone under the sun's a resume writer. I can't tell you how many people I see that are like, I'm just starting my own business as a resume writer. And as their LinkedIn header, it'll say like English major, content writer, marketing expert. And also now they're a resume writer. So cool. If you got friends that are English majors going to do your resume, good for you. Have fun trying to get a job, because the people that are in the game for a while, like myself, there's a science to it. There's a 6-second test. Everyone will tell you what that means. It means when you look at a resume as a hiring manager or recruiter, I can tell right away if this thing's a piece of shit or if this thing looks good. And if it looks like a piece, they're moving on. And if it looks good in a sense of this look, the 6-second look, and you don't know what this is if you're not a resume writer. This is not, I see it every day, and I can internalize in 6 seconds if someone got done professionally or not. If it doesn't have that look, you're probably not going to get very far in the process, whether it's ATS compliance reasons or practically the human eye on the other end practically just discards it because they say, you kind of slop this together and it really doesn't mean you want much with the job, it looks like, because the competition's doing the right things. They're getting their whole job hunting arsenal together, their whole toolkit, cover letter, LinkedIn, resume writer, a resume, Indeed profile, and some other little supporting documents we offer also that makes you one big collective strategy of job hunting. I know it sounds like a lot of work, but this is an effing big deal. You're trying to get a job, and you're trying to get it quick, and you're trying to get a good job and a good career going. So take it serious. This isn't just I'm off today. I'm going to do a few things in the morning, and then I'm going to go and work on the yard. It's fine to have those downtimes when you're in a transition, but take this shit serious. I mean, this is your life. So make it a strategy, because the little bit of time and effort you put in every day, by the time you get the next job, it's done. And now you're in your next role and you're happy. So have that look. If you're trying to get that look, you go to an expert, someone who's been doing it for a while.